Manifesto με το Βαγγέλη Γέττο. Προκήρυξη ανάληψης μουσικής και λογοτεχνικής ευθύνης. Τώρα στο Lemoni.
Η 20 Νοεμβρίου που μας πέρασε είναι η Παγκόσμια Μέρα που ο ΟΗΕ έχει αφιερώσει στην προστασία των δικαιωμάτων των παιδιών. Παγκόσμια ημέρα προστασίας των δικαιωμάτων των παιδιών. Κάθε λέξη αυτής της φράσης ανοίγει ζητήματα στα οποία ίσως να έπρεπε να αφιερώσουμε μια ολόκληρη ραδιοφωνική σεζόν. Μερικές μόνο σκέψεις. Πόσο παγκόσμια είναι αυτή η μέρα. Πόσα παιδιά δεν έχουν καν ακούσει ή προφέρει τη λέξη δικαίωμα. Όχι μόνο σε ρημαγμένες χώρες της Αφρικής ή της Ασίας, όπου η πείνα και ο πόλεμος ακυρώνει την παιδικότητα. Δεν μιλάω για χώρες όπου παιδιά στρατολογούνται με τη βία στο ένα ή στο άλλο στρατόπεδο. Δεν μιλάω για χώρες όπου τα παιδιά ματώνουν για να έχω εγώ και εσύ να επιλέξουμε σε ένα κατάστημα κάποια school μάρκας αθλητικών ειδών. Για εδώ μιλάω. Για τα του οίκου μας. Εδώ, στην Κύπρο, πόσοι γονείς δεν επιβάλλουν σωματικές τιμωρίες στα παιδιά. Σε αυτή τη θεοκρατική χώρα που θα μπορούσε να είναι μια επαρχία του Ιράν, τον Αγιατολάχ, πόσοι γονείς εκπαιδεύουν έγκαιρα τα παιδιά τους σεξουαλική αγωγή. Πόσα παιδιά ακόμα θα πέσουν θύματα γονεϊκών αρπαγών επειδή έτσι. Πόσα παιδιά θα στερηθούν αδικαιολόγητα τον πατέρα τους, επειδή το σόι της μάνας θα πέσει πάνω στους δικαστές γιατί τάχα το παιδί ανήκει στη μάνα του. Σε πόσα αγόρια δεν θα επιτραπεί να αγαπήσουν τη μάνα τους γιατί πρέπει να γίνουν σκληρά και αδυσόπιτα και να μην κάνουν σαν τις γυναικούλες. Και για να πάω στα κάπως λιγότερο οδυνηρά, αλλά εξίσου σοβαρά, εδώ, στη χώρα όπου όλα είναι εύκολα αρκεί να ξέρεις μερικούς από τους αγγέλους του Θεού, σε πόσα παιδιά δίνεται το εκλογικό δικαίωμα κατά την ενηλικίωσή τους, γνωρίζοντας τι πραγματικά έχει παιχτεί. Πόσα παιδιά μπορούν να παρακολουθήσουν τηλεκπαίδευση. Σε πόσα παιδιά επιτρέπεται να τραβήξουν το δικό τους δρόμο. Πόσα ακόμα παιδιά θα γεννηθούν ενώ οι γονείς τους δεν τα ήθελαν, αλλά να μωρέ, τι θα πει η γειτονιά, το θέλουν και οι παππούδες του για προσελάνινο βάζο στην εδαζέρα τους. Τελικά, πόσα παιδιά δεν θα γνωρίσουν ποτέ τι σημαίνει να είσαι παιδί. Καλησπέρα. Σήμερα μιλάμε για τα μέλη της κοινωνίας που ο πολιτισμός, σε αντίθεση με τη βαρβαρότητα, θα έπρεπε να θέτει ως απόλυτη προτεραιότητα. Επίσης, σήμερα δεν θα σας μιλήσω εγώ, αλλά ο αγαπητός μου καλεσμένος, ένα παιδί που μεγάλωσε σε αδιανόητες για εμάς συνθήκες, ένα παιδί συνεχώς μετακινούμενο, ένα παιδί που μεγάλωσε και έγινε ενήλικας, αλλά που το ταξίδι της επιβίωσης είμαι σίγουρος ότι όχι μόνο δεν το έχει ξεχάσει, αλλά συνεχίζεται. Εδώ μαζί μου, σήμερα δίπλα μου βρίσκεται ο Diya Arishe, Παλαιστίνιος της Συρίας, που το γνώρισα την περίοδο που εργαζόμουν ως νομικός ασυνόδευτων ανηλίκων προσφύγων σε μία από τις στέγες που λειτουργεί το Hope for Children εδώ στην Κύπρο. Σελάμ αλέικουμ, Diya. Σε λίγο θα μας πει την ιστορία της ζωής του και πιστέψτε με, αξίζει να μείνετε μαζί μας. Μπορείτε να μας στέλνετε τα σχόλια και τις σκέψεις σας στο chatbox στα δεξιά της σελίδας μας ή μέσω Facebook στη σελίδα Manifesto με λατινικούς χαρακτήρες. Πάμε σε ένα κομμάτι και επιστρέφουμε για να ξετυλίξουμε το κουβάρι της ιστορίας ενός ακόμα πρίγκηπα της Ανατολής που δεν πίστεψε στιγμή ότι μπορεί να αλλάξει ο κόσμος, αλλά που τουλάχιστον επέμεινε και επιμένει να διατηρεί το δικαίωμα να ζει μέσα σε αυτόν τον κόσμο με τον τρόπο που ο ίδιος επιλέγει. So the discussion today will be in English, so that we can communicate with Diya. Thank you for being here, Diya.
Thank you too.
Diya Arishe is, as I said in the beginning, an ex-unaccompanied minor whom I met when I was working as a legal counselor for unaccompanied minors. How long have you been in Cyprus now?
5 years and 1 month.
5 years and 1 month. Well, I know your story pretty much, but I will pretend I don't, so that we take it from the beginning and we recreate it, so that we pass it over to the people that are now listening to us. How old are you now?
Now 21. Born in January 29, 98.
98. It was the World Cup in France back then. I don't know if...
I'm not sure about it.
Okay. So let's take it from the beginning. Where you told us you were born in 98. Where?
I had born in Damascus.
Damascus.
In Yarmouk camp, yes.
What do you mean, Yarmouk? What is Yarmouk camp actually?
Which is the place where the Palestinian who had born in Syria, they lived for.
So you are of Palestinian origin?
Nationality Palestinian and had born in Syria.
Mm-hmm.
And after lived in Lebanon.
Who left Palestine and went to Syria?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather.
Yes.
In when? In 48? The Nakba?
Yeah, around that.
Yeah. The Nakba, you know the...
Nakba.
What does it mean, Nakba?
Nakba is the time that what happened.
The catastrophe or something like that?
Yeah, about Israel. Between the issues between Israel and Palestine. They started there.
In 48 when they
when they start taking away the Palestinians from their country, taking them away as a refugee.
So your grandfathers went to Syria?
Went to Syria.
In Damascus,
Yarmouk camp, yes.
And they were obliged to live in Yarmouk camp? Or it was of their choice?
It was as a planning, it was only for like around 7 to 10 days. That's what they have been told.
Okay.
And they were about to go back. And that's what was in their dream. That's why my grandfather and my grandmother, they kept their key of the house there, and they kept everything. So just hoping one day they will go back, and which is not going to happen.
Do you remember where exactly they come from, Palestine?
They come from Qada Safad.
I don't know it, but...
I don't know it either. I haven't been in there, but it's my dream, one of my dreams to be in there.
Why can't you go there? Now we will speak afterwards why now, but before, why didn't you go?
Just the word Palestinian, it make a big issue.
Where?
Everywhere.
Why?
I'm not sure why, but I think Palestinians are ignoring by everyone, getting ignored actually by everyone, and all the governmental and all the country's laws. I don't know why, especially the Arabic ones, which I'm not allowed to go, not even somewhere. Like even if I wanted to go to one of the nearby countries, I needed to have visa, which is no way you get it.
As a Palestinian,
of
Syria.
Of Syria.
Okay.
That's make the issue even bigger. Just being Palestinian and had born in Syria.
When you were born, actually, how many brothers and sisters you have?
We are 5 in the family.
5, okay. And when you were born, your parents were working, or tell us a bit about your first years, from what you have been said actually, or what you remember also.
What I do remembering my father trying to create his future as being working for the people as a carpenter, and slowly, with the help of my mom, as they say always, behind every great man there is a woman standing by. They actually opened their own company of making furniture, and that's where I started slowly learning how to do the job of my father in the summertime.
Okay. Did you have, let's say, a normal life? Or you always had obstacles because of your origin?
No, actually, I did have a normal life at the beginning, where actually I don't remember anything, like any responsibility. I only remember just being, like the biggest responsibility for me was going to school, and which I actually miss. And I actually miss like the time my mom, she used to wake up. She used to make me wake up, trying to wake me up to go to school. And this is actually my biggest responsibility back then.
Were you an easy child to manage?
I think so. I think that didn't last long, but...
So you grow up there. How was the life in this camp of Palestinian refugees in Syria?
Actually, it was the best of my life. Like, I can describe it as the best years of my life. Just being around my family, it's enough.
And outside your family, I mean, the conditions there, it was like a normal city, or it was like a degraded, let's say, camp?
No, the one I lived in, which is in Damascus, is actually a good place to live in.
Okay.
Very safe. Everything is offered in there. You live a good life.
And so you grow up, you go school in the camp
I went
in
to school.
Damascus?
I was one of the best students actually.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a bit about school in Syria. I mean, until what age did you go there?
I went until 10 years old.
Until 10. Afterwards, what happened?
After we had to go to Lebanon.
So that's
This
the
is
chapter change.
Yes.
Before you go to Lebanon, you will tell me. How was school? What were you learning? Were you learning, for example, foreign languages? Or?
I was actually learning French. I was quite good at French, but now I remember nothing about it.
You were still learning French,
Yes,
huh?
we still learning French. We used to learn English. I was pretty bad at
Do you
English.
remember the being taught the history of Syria?
Yeah, all the time. But most of the time it was about what we call dictator, about that.
About? What do you
Bashar
mean by
al-Assad.
that? About Assad
Bashar
family?
al-Assad, yeah, the president of Syria.
So you were learning about him
About everything,
in person?
everything about him and his father and his grandfather. This is what they taught us our history, and everything was wrong about it.
Tell me an example. I mean, something that you remember that has been stuck in your mind.
I remember one of the things that I discovered a few months ago, actually. It was about the president of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
They used to teach us about him, and his name is Jamal Abdel Nasser.
Ah, Nasser, yeah.
Back in days, which they used to tell us that he actually died during the time when he was fighting Israel, which wasn't right. And
yeah.
he used to tell us that he died actually in a ship, crashing in another Israeli ship, trying to do something as a hero, which didn't happen. This is one of the big mistakes they used to teach us. Some of the stuff that they used to teach us all the time, actually, Bashar al-Assad and Hafiz al-Assad, nothing else. This is what we used to learn.
You said the dictator, so you were living in your impression is that you lived in a dictatorship.
Not when I was a child.
What was the difference back then?
Back in days, we actually never experienced racism or any issue. As a children, we never. But always our parents, they used to tell us that the wall in our countries, they have an ear. And we never understand that until now.
That the walls have an ear.
The walls have an ear. Yeah.
So you cannot make jokes.
You cannot talk.
You cannot talk.
What
means that you cannot talk?
In our countries, back in the days, you can talk about everything except political.
Mm-hmm.
You could do whatever you want, but don't touch anything political.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you reach there, I think you are going to be in a very big danger.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any other classmates or friends whose the family had problems with the regime? Do you remember any story in your neighborhood with people who had problems?
I remember my first cousin.
Mm-hmm.
His father, he used to be a politic, and he always used to be very angry about what's happening in the country, which I don't really remember because I didn't understand back in the days what used to be happening. But always I remember my father telling me that, oh, your father cousin went to the prison. I'm like, why? Because he talked on the phone, or because he did something.
Okay, and so you reached the age of 10. What happens there? What happens then?
I had to quit school and start working.
Okay, why?
To survive my family.
Mm-hmm. What changed in your parents' business and stuff?
My father, because of the business, because of the issue, what's happening around the world.
I mean, what happened?
The war start.
Mm-hmm.
Everything start. I remember where the first time it starts with that word waking up and telling us that the Alawi, they attacking the Sunnah.
The Alawis, for the people who don't know, is the clan of Assad's
Exactly.
Let's say the clan of Assad.
Exactly.
They're also Muslim, but they are against the Sunni
exactly.
and the other
They have their other beliefs.
branches of Islam. Let's take a breath. Let's have a pause with a song, and then we are back on Diya Arishe's story, an ex-unaccompanied minor whom I met some years ago. You can always contact us. Μπορείτε να μας στέλνετε τα μηνύματά σας στο chat box δεξιά στη σελίδα ή στο Facebook Manifesto με λατινικούς χαρακτήρες. Τα λέμε σε λίγο. Είμαστε εδώ με τον Diya Arishe, Παλαιστίνιο της Συρίας, πρώην ασυνόδευτο ανήλικο, όπως είπα αρκετές φορές στο προηγούμενο μέρος πριν από το κομμάτι, για όσους ενδεχομένως τώρα συντονιστήκατε μαζί μας. Diya is sharing with us his life story from the beginning, back in the days when he was born in Yarmouk camp in Damascus in Syria. His school days, which finished pretty violently, I guess, at the age of 10 when he was obliged to work because his father's business was disrupted by what he called and what it was actually the war. So, can you tell me what you remember as the start, the beginning of the war? What were the first news that came to you, to your knowledge, and what were your first feelings?
Actually, the first time
reactions.
The first time that I heard about those children, which they were from Dara. And
Dara is a district of Syria.
No, Dara, it's a city of...
City.
It's a city.
Yeah.
Which is, because of what was happening in our Middle East, all over in Egypt and in other countries, children will learn what's going to happen. So some of those children in that area, they went onto a wall and they wrote, Bashar al-Assad will go down, as they used to say about Mubarak.
We remember very well.
Yeah. And what happened is they took the children and they tortured them. Their parents, they went there and they were talking, like trying to get them away from there, and they refused that. And they sent them home away after torturing them for so long. And this is what we hear, what we couldn't see on TV. We were hearing the news just from our people. Because we weren't allowed to hear it from TVs, because no one will show it. You will never know the facts or the news or whatever is happening all over. Only what they need you to see, actually.
How many channels did exist? One,
I think in Syria, back in the days, it used to be satellite.
Yeah.
And not actually all the people used to be allowed to put satellite. You were allowed only to watch 3 channels, I think, or 4 maximum. And if you need to get a satellite so you can get the European channel or the channel from over, you need to have a permission, and it used to be very difficult, actually. And until not so long ago, they used, actually, when Bashar al-Assad came, actually, he allowed to have a receiver and satellite and this kind of issue, this kind of thing.
Did you have internet access? I mean,
not long time ago. I think I'm not sure which year, but not very long time ago.
But it was free, or they were putting obstacles in your access in foreign sites and stuff?
I'm not sure.
You were pretty young.
Yeah, I don't really remember, actually.
Yeah. So what follows the news that come to you?
Everyone was angry, actually. Everyone was trying to go out. Everyone was trying to say how angry he is. But after very short time, they used to send the army out. And they used to kill everyone, actually. Not like taking them to prison. They used to kill them immediately.
Immediately in the streets?
Immediately in the streets. Shooting everyone with tanks, doesn't matter what.
Yeah, we are speaking now about 2011, right?
Around.
So you were 10 years old back then? Or older?
13.
13. Were you around in any of these killings?
I was.
Have you seen things?
I was.
Can you describe us something that you have seen?
I actually have so many flashbacks about a lot of times something happened. I remember the first thing happened in Yarmouk camp is the time someone shot someone because he has his opinion about something, and he got killed, and that guy, he was Palestinian.
Who killed him?
A group of people which belonged to Bashar al-Assad, but they're actually Palestinian. They called Al-Qiyada al-Amma. They actually shot him, and our people, they got angry and mad, and they went into the center and the office of that people and where they gathered together. And they went.
You were with them there?
No, I wasn't, but I will tell you that. And a lot of people, they went. I think hundreds of people, they went. And one of sudden, they start burning tire on the, because, you know, describing how angry they are. And suddenly they took their guns, the قيادة العامة. They took their guns and they start shooting at the people. And we weren't far away from there. I think we were around like 15 minutes by walk. And we were hearing shooting. And my father, he's one of the people, he doesn't fear nothing. I never see fear in his eyes. And he actually took us to watch from far away. And it was actually the first time I see someone getting shot. There was a guy, he got shot by his hand. And I actually went into the hospital, which was like 2 minutes away. He went into the hospital, he get bandaged, and he went away. And he get back after like 15 minutes. We saw him again with his brothers, gathering again.
You told me that your father does not express fear or other emotions easily. What was your reaction and your emotion when you saw this bloodbath there?
Actually, you know, when you watch an action movie or you watch something on the TV, you have actually a different feeling. You know, you are like, okay, something happened. But when you are in the action, in that moment, I think you will have fear. You will have a lot of fear. But my father, for some reason, he didn't have it.
Tell me about you.
But after actually, you know, I got so scared actually when I saw that guy bleeding and that. But when I saw him getting into the hospital, and after a while, he just came back, and he came back with his brothers. I'm like, these guys, they have a reason. Back in the days, okay, I understand what happened and this and that, but I didn't understand the main reason for someone who's in that age. I don't think he will understand. His main thing is playing and doing his stuff. But when I saw those people shouting and having a reason to do that, I think it gave me motivation for not shutting up, perhaps, for speaking up. For that reason, after a while, whenever everyone's like start going out, I start going out with them, even though my father, he used
demonstrations.
To shout. Exactly.
And
even
your father?
My father, he used to shout at me for that. And I used to tell him, but you used to take me sometime. He's like, yes, but I'm with you. I'm like, oh, okay, but what is the difference?
And in the following demonstrations, were also shootings and stuff?
Yeah, but for a while it used actually to calm down. So they were trying to sort it out, to sort out the issue. So it used to be it used to calm down for a while.
And then what happened, and what was the ultimate reason that your family decided to leave the country and go to Lebanon?
Actually, most of the people that they used to live in Yarmouk camp, they left for that reason. It's one time where I remember I was working in a sweet shop, and at one point we always used to hear an airplane or bombs or shooting or whatever, but always used to be far away. But I remember in that day was, I think maybe 2 or 3 p.m. and I was working in the sweet shop, and we hear this airplane, which is F something, and you hear it, and it was very close, closer than what we usually hear. And suddenly we hear, was very loud. Everyone shouting in the street, everyone. And my boss, he's like, hide the gas tank or whatever.
Yeah.
And we put them down, blah, 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 and we were just running, everyone. And my boss is like, I will take you to the house. I'm like, no, I will go around. And I went because my grandmother's house used to be very nearby. And I went in there, and while I'm going there, I see some people like running away from there. For some reason, which I didn't understand back in the days because it was very dangerous. I went there. I went into that action.
On the spot where the bomb fell.
Where is the bomb?
Why did you go?
I'm not sure. I think I never understand it actually. But I don't know. I just went there.
And what did you see there?
I saw stuff never go away from my mind.
Like?
Blood, dead, destroyed, bodies everywhere. I think body parts.
Is it something that comes to your mind nowadays?
I think every time. Every time when someone like say something about war or whatever, or people talking about war, most of the people, they take it as a joke, but they doesn't take it as serious as when you are in there, actually, when you are in the action.
Now that, okay, let's say that you're not describing to me, but you are describing it, as you said, to someone who thinks that it's like on TV. Do you feel that people really understand what you're saying?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think the people, they were in there and they get injured, or the people they saw that, the people who were nearby, like I have my aunties, she get injured all her face, and she lost her eyes, and her face get destroyed completely, and she almost lost her arm because she was hiding in the mosque, which used to be as a like refugee place, because everyone were around us not safe, and they were coming into our areas and trying to hide there. And for some reason, they decided that they wanted to bomb it because there is terrorists in there, which was no one, it was just a normal people.
Mm-hmm. So this was after that, your family
and after that,
decides...
yeah, everyone was trying to get away. We get away, we stay somewhere for my family relative for a few days, and after we decide to go to Lebanon.
Before we change chapter and we go to Lebanon, let's also have a small pause with a song, and we get back to our discussion about the journey of Diya Arishe, this Syrian Palestinian of Syria, who as an accompanied minor reached Cyprus some years ago, and I am already looking forward to this chapter of your arrival in Cyprus. Σε λίγο και πάλι μαζί. So you stay a bit with some of your relatives and then you cross the borders to Lebanon?
Yeah, for a few days. By the time we made our passport and the procedure, it was very big actually, because everyone was trying to get away from the country. Like Yarmouk camp is very big camp, and there is a lot of people.
Did they let you go to Lebanon? I mean, your passports were valid or fake?
No, it was. We made it legal, but we pay you so much money so you can have it in short time, because it was a lot of people in there. So you had to pay a lot of money so you can get it, and you can go.
Pay money
wherever.
to the government or to the black market?
To the people that they work there. For the government.
Business as usual.
Yeah, everything in that country happen with money. You have money, you will happen. We didn't have so much money, but the fact that you are in danger, you wouldn't care about the money. You will do the impossible just to go away, and this is what happened with us.
Mm-hmm. So you flee to Lebanon?
No, we went by a car.
No, yeah, but I mean, you leave Syria.
We left from Syria. We went to Lebanon. We went to my auntie. One of my aunties. She live in Lebanon. She's Palestinian from Syria, but she's married to someone who's Palestinian from Lebanon.
Which region?
In Al-Bika, Saad Nail.
Okay, that's difficult.
Yeah. We went there. We lived in there for a few months. We were looking for a job. I'm the first one actually who found a job. Mm-hmm. I started job with I don't know, I'm not sure exactly, with 35,000 lira Lebanese. It's me $15 a week.
Okay,
a week.
Yeah.
And I used to work for minimum 12-hour day. That's the minimum.
And how old were you back then? 14?
13.
13,
Yeah, in 2011, okay. All of this happened.
You are the oldest of the brothers and sisters?
No, I have my oldest brother and I have oldest sister.
But you were the first one who got the job?
I'm the first one who found.
So you were supporting the family, let's say?
We were trying, yes.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't so much money. But as a child, this is the most you can get in that country, because they will treat you as a children. You need to learn the job. You need to do, the basic. You need to take the basic.
What kind of job was that?
I started in a lahmacun job, and pizza and this kind of stuff.
But you were working as an adult, from what you say.
Yeah.
No.
First, when I started, I used to clean. I started cleaning. After that, they never let me to learn the job. They never wanted me to learn the job. They always wanted to give me the cleaning stuff. But after, because I wanted to take more money and more rise, I needed to learn, which I always tried to push myself very hard to learn something, to get something from that job. But eventually I didn't see anything happening in that job, so I decided to move on. I get very small experience from that job, and I moved to somewhere else. And when they used to ask me, do you have any experience? I used to say yes. And I used to learn something.
Yeah.
And I used to go there. They used to ask me, do you know how to do this? I never know how they do it, perhaps, but I saw them doing it. So I used to tell them yes. Okay. And I used to try to do it, and they see, okay, he's okay. So give him the job.
So you started, let's say, a career as a baker, as a lahmacun maker there?
Yeah.
Around? That's where you started cooking also?
That's exactly, yeah.
Because Diya, I have to say that he's a talent in cooking, in baking, in things like that. And where did you live eventually with your family? Where did you stay? In which place?
After a few months from living with my aunties, we found a very far house actually from the area where I used to work, which used to be, I'm not sure by walk how much, but it used to be very far because I used to have a bicycle. I bought a bicycle, and it used to be like 30 minutes by bicycle. And I remember I used to wake up 5 a.m. because I used to start at 6. And I used to start from the house 5:30. I used to reach the job like 6. So.
And then you moved to any other place afterwards?
After that, we moved to the capital of Lebanon, which is Beirut.
Yeah.
And I started the same job in there, but I actually started getting much better salary with my experience. Slowly, I start to move on, and eventually I become very good experience at this pizza. I start working as a pizza chef.
In which place in Beirut you were staying in a camp or in a region?
Sabra Shatila.
Sabra and Shatila. Can you tell us a bit about Sabra and Shatila? And I will explain to our listeners why I insist on that.
I think that's the worst experience I actually have.
Can you give us in detail?
Because being in Sabra Shatila is a war itself. Being into that area where everything is legal, no government, where is the drug sold like a water, the guns sold like flour.
So it was like a huge ghetto?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think maybe as well, you can describe it worse.
And why did your family go there to stay in this dangerous place?
Because it's the cheapest place you can find. Where you are a refugee in Lebanon, and back days as well. Not back days, even till now, the Syrian and the Palestinian of Syria, they treated not very well in Lebanon. They treat them like, I'm sorry, like a trash.
Yeah.
Like they are nothing.
Yeah.
They actually like about 6 months ago, I think it was a crisis between the Syrian and the Palestinian, wherever the Lebanese, they used to see a Palestinian or Palestinian from Syria, they used to actually hate him and they used to attack him for nothing, just for being a Syrian. Because they used to claim that the Syrian and the Palestinian from Syria took their job or whatever reason.
Yeah, but in Sabra and Shatila, what was the difference? Or it was...
Sabra Shatila is the area where the Palestinian gather, but not most of them. I think most of them, they are into the bad thing. Those people who were there, but we were very enforced, like very forced to be in there.
And so you were growing up as a teenager there?
Yeah. We left there, I think I was 12 or, 14 or 15.
And you said it's like a war, on a daily
war.
What, can you describe some scenes that you have seen there?
Being in there where everyone were, everyone holding a gun. Whenever someone fights with someone, they doesn't push each other or they talk to each other. Immediately he will take the gun and he will shoot you. And no one will say nothing because the government, they are not allowed to be in there. Like this is the simple thing which will must happen. Let's say you start job somewhere and the boss decide, oh, you're not getting paid. You cannot tell to your boss no. You will just go home. Okay, I'm okay. And the next day you need to go to work because if you will not go, you will not have a work.
I insisted a bit asking you about Sabra and Shatila because it's a historic place, one of the biggest massacres of the civil war of Lebanon in 1982 took place there when the Maronites of Lebanon entered Sabra Shatila and they slaughtered some thousands of Palestinian refugees in there, including women, children, whoever they were finding in front of them. It was one of the very, very dark and obscure, let's say, pages of the civil war back then. So from what you describe, I understand that the situation was tense. It was always tense.
Yeah, but actually, as well, the people in there who they do this bad thing, they're actually forced to. Because being Palestinian who born in Lebanon, he's not allowed to be something. Like he's not allowed to be a doctor, he's not allowed to work as a lawyer, he's not allowed to work.
Just because you are a refugee or because you are a Palestinian?
No, I think just being Palestinian, because if you are a refugee from another country, I think you would be all right. But just for being this word Palestinian plus something, it makes a very big difference into your life.
So what you describe here is that, a lot of people believe that, we were discussing about that before we started the show, that Arabs are kind of, are united, or there is one Arab dialect. We have in our mind Arabs as a group of people which has no differences in between them. So Palestinians are not only hated by Israelis.
No, hated by everyone for some reason. I'm not sure. Even us, we hate our life actually. We hate ourselves just being Palestinian.
Because it's a bad luck to be Palestinian in a way.
I think, yeah, it is very bad luck.
So you are in Sabra Satila in Beirut, in Lebanon. You work there?
I worked there
For how many years?
until 2015.
2015. And what happens then?
In 2015, one of my friends called me because I was actually looking for a way to get out from the country.
You or your family also wanted you to go out?
No, we were all trying to get away, but all my family, they were into the sea stuff or something. They wanted something safe, like to go legal from the country. But it didn't happen. We went a lot of time. I remember we went a lot of time, me and my father, trying to get a visa to Turkey. And it was very difficult for us because we are Palestinian from Syria, while the people from Syria, they were getting it. So after a while, I don't have hope anymore from getting away from that area, from that life, trying to do something, trying to speak, trying to do something different in my life.
What did you want to do? I mean, what were you dreaming back then?
Back in days, I was dreaming to talk, about talking, and about writing the songs, about writing a poem, where my poems always used to be based on something used to happen, on a video I watch, or a story I heard, or something. So always my poems used to be attacking.
So you wanted to become a poet, let's say?
Something like that. So, which used to be very difficult. I wrote a lot of my poems and I had lost them. I lost them because of the way how I move in here, and because of the sea, because of a lot of things. So I remember one of my friends, he had called me, because everyone knew in that area that I'm planning to leave. And he told me that there is one ship is going to leave from the country in like a few hours. I'm like, okay.
For where to?
To go from Trablus to go to Greece.
To Greece.
This is what it was planning for.
This was planned, or
this is
what
the plan.
You were told, let's say?
No, this is what was the plan. This is what they told me actually. Yeah. I'm not sure because maybe they are planning to go to Cyprus.
Yeah.
So he told me that there is a boat that's going to go from Trablus to Greece. And I was into that because I didn't believe, like, I just found a small hope. Like, it gave me small hope to go away from this prison or whatever you can describe it. So...
And you had, of course, to pay to get
exactly.
The ship.
Exactly. So my friend...
Was it affordable for you back then?
It wasn't. I get money from my father and some money from the thing I used to save. So we went and we met that guy who was like the guy who will organize.
Describe us this type of guys. I mean, this guy, the let's say the smuggler, actually, as we call it in the law. Describe this person.
I remember when I went into that shop, he used to have a phone shop. And when I went in and I was trying to talk to him and I was trying to explain for him that I don't have enough money, because he asked me for $5,000 back in the days, and it used to be a lot of money for someone who will work for all the month for $400. It used to be so much money. So I was trying to talk to him about the money and trying to make it. He's like, if you would like to leave, leave. If you would like to come, come. So I think these people, they doesn't really care about what you are or what do you want or why you are there. They just care about their money. They just wanted $5,000. Okay, give me the $5,000, I'll go. So what they described for me that we are going to go on a big boat, like a big yacht or whatever. Yeah, and we're going to reach Greece, and from there you can continue.
But
when we went, I remember when I went from Sabra Shatila, I went on the back of the car because it didn't have a space in a boot. It was BMW X5.
Yeah.
And I remember from the time being in there to the time we reached Trablus, it's like, I'm not sure, maybe 1 hour and a half or 2 hours. I remember I wrote a poem to my family and I sent it to them. We reached there and we stayed in a room, and they took our phones. They took any contact we can contact from outside, and they told us wait. I was very lucky. I actually met one guy. I knew him. We were talking. I don't know. I don't remember actually how long time passed. So they came. One of the guys, he came and he's like, "You are ready to go out?" We're like, "Okay." We took our bags. I remember I was like looking around. I see families. I see big guys. I see everyone with someone. Everyone was with. Everyone have someone to be with, except me. Everyone was asking me like, "Are you alone?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Do you know where we are going?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "We're going to sea." Okay. I remember we went into the night.
Did you know how to swim?
Not really. We went into the night. It was very dark night. It was a very dark night. We were trying to hide. I don't know from what, but
In the sea?
No, not in the sea. We were walking.
Sorry, okay.
Walking to go to reach to the boat. Because it was very like, I'm not sure where the area it was, but it was very far from everything.
You were hiding?
It was like an abandoned building, and the boat is
Next to it.
a little bit far from there. So we were walking and we were trying to hide. We were hiding. We didn't know what's happening perhaps. Okay, we went and they told us, "You will go on this boat, and you will meet the big boat after 10 minutes."
But it was a small one.
It was a very small boat. It was actually 2 boats because we were a lot of people. The family, they were on one boat, and the guys, which they are alone on one boat. So we started the 2 boats, and we went. The 10-minute bus, okay, little bit more. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. After we start realizing that there is no other boat, we will have to keep going. So we kept going until the time one of the boats, the family boat, it stopped. And it didn't work anymore. So...
In the middle of the sea now?
In the middle of the sea, where you cannot see nothing except water.
Let's have another pause here. Let's go to the song. Τα λέμε σε ελάχιστα και πάλι. Είμαστε εδώ με τον Diya Arishe, πρώην ασυνόδευτος ανήλικος, Παλαιστίνιος από τη Συρία, ο οποίος ήρθε πριν από περίπου 5 χρόνια στην Κύπρο. Μας περιγράφει την περιπέτειά του, τη ζωή του από όταν γεννήθηκε στη Δαμασκό της Συρίας, καθώς η οικογένειά του εγκατέλειψε τη Συρία εν μέσω του πολέμου που ξέσπασε στη χώρα. Βρέθηκαν στο Λίβανο και από εκεί έχουμε φτάσει στο σημείο που έχει επιβιβαστεί στη βάρκα και στην άλλη βάρκα όπου επιβαίνουν οι οικογένειες, όπως μας είπε, η μηχανή σταματάει ξαφνικά μέσα στη μέση της θάλασσας. Εσείς μπορείτε να συνεχίσετε να μας στέλνετε τα μηνύματα και τα σχόλιά σας, τις σκέψεις σας στο chat box στα δεξιά του site μας ή στο Facebook Manifesto με λατινικούς χαρακτήρες. So we're saying that one of the boats stopped in the middle of the sea.
The family boat stopped in the middle of the sea.
And what happened there?
And the guys who were on our boat, they decided that we must leave this boat and call for the help. I don't know how they were planning to call for the help. And to keep going. There were discussion between each other.
So they were left behind the others?
No, they didn't left them. They were trying to. They were discussing about it. And some men from there with their family, like the fathers or whatever, they jump into our boat. Mm-hmm. And they took a gun. One of the guys, I remember, he took a gun and he was threatening everyone. If you will do this, you will die. So eventually they decided to put a rope on the boat and to keep going.
So the people who were driving the boats, they were armed, right?
No, not the people who driving the arm. The people who were on the boats, they were armed. They were with drugs. A lot of people, they were actually doing drugs on the boat. We were in the middle of the sea. We were like, we don't know what's going to happen. And some people, they were like smoking, taking drugs or whatever, giving bills to everyone.
And everyone, in the boat, in the middle of the sea.
In the middle of the sea, in the boats. And it was normal for them, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
but the people who were driving the boats, they were not the smugglers?
No, the people actually, they were on the boat. They're people who know how to drive a boat. They gave them a free ticket.
Okay.
Free
ticket.
Yeah, they actually gave them free ticket. Okay, you take these guys and you will go along.
Okay.
Or maybe they give them some more money. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they were one of us. Like they were normal people. They just wanted to go away from the country as well.
It's very interesting that you call it free ticket.
Yeah, this is what I think. So they put the rope around it, and we were driving in the boat. I remember it was on August, on 10th. Mm-hmm. And it was a little bit windy in the sea, and the boat started playing with the water. And because of the two boats, they were stuck together with one engine. It was very difficult for us to reach somewhere. So I think for 2 days we were trying to reach one land which we can see, but we didn't know what is it because we didn't have GPS. We didn't have somewhere. So
were you afraid that something would happen there, or you?
Most of the time, actually, I was trying to be alone. And whenever I wanted to sleep, I was just sleeping under the bench of the boat on the side. I was just sleeping most of the time, lying, trying to get away from everyone, because I don't want to be in contact with these kind of people, so, especially when you are like 17 years old in that days. So we were trying to get to the land, but we never get. We can see it, but we never get because we are two boats and the engine is very weak.
Which land was that?
That was Cyprus, I think. Yeah, but for some reason we didn't get there. Never. We just like trying to get there,
because of the wind.
For some reason, and because the wave was very high. So at one point we get to the land where we saw two fishermen. Mm-hmm. And they reach there, and some of the people, they decide, okay, we will be in here. And some people, they decide we will go to Greece, because after they ask the fishermen where we are, yes. So some people, they decided they wanted to go to Greece. I'm one of them, because I didn't want to stay in Cyprus. A lot of people, they told me, oh, Cyprus, about it. It's very difficult to get paper, very good to live in there in general, because we had a lot of people get in there before us by the boats. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't planning to stay in here, so I decided I would stay in the boat. By the time everyone will go down and we will keep going with the people they want to go. So one of the people in there, who's driving the boat, for some reason, they go back with the boat, and he just smashed it again. And he go back, and he smashed it again.
He smashed it against
He
the
smashed
rocks.
our boat, which we are
Against
in.
the rocks.
Exactly. So we don't get nowhere. The one who's driving it, and he just went away. We had to go away, and I remember I jumped in the water, but it wasn't like, it was I think maybe 20 meters.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to get in there. I get in there, and I remember was the UK army who came to us. They came with the airplane. They came with the cars.
It was the Kelia base.
The Kelia base.
Yeah.
They were trying to understand what is happening because they actually had a big issue with that because they couldn't see us on the radar, and they actually kept us close because of that, because they didn't want the people to know, I think, that we reached there into an army base or whatever.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so they kept us close for 7 days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people, they came to us and they were trying to say, oh, you need to apply as a refugee in here and this and that. In that day, I didn't understand what was happening. But a lot of people, they used to come to me, especially because I used to be alone and I used to be minor. And they used to tell me, you need to put your fingerprints in there. Back in the days, I didn't understand anything. So I remember translation. They used to come to me and translate for me. And one of these, one lady, which you remember it, I think, is the lady she come when you met me.
Yeah, I will let you, because it's the first time actually I ask you to do that, to describe our meeting from your eyes.
I remember that lady which I told you about. I don't remember her name. She was the translator, and she came to me and she told me, "Oh, fix yourself. Someone come to meet you." I'm like, okay. And everyone was telling me, "Oh, blah blah blah. You will get away. You will get away." I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I remember she took me there, and she told me for the first time actually. She asked me, "Do you need something? Everything's okay with you?" I'm like, "I needed a jacket for so long. You didn't give me." She's like, "I will give you." I'm like, okay. I remember I went, I sit on the chair, and she came to me, she told me, "Stretch your back, sit okay." I'm like, okay. And you remember coming in, and you see me, you came and actually you're like, "Oh my goodness," and maybe you came with Christina, I think.
No, it was Konstantinos, another guy.
Yeah.
I remember meeting you in a military tent.
Yeah, that's
it had rained and it was bloody, muddy all around. I mean, we were in the mud. It was like being in a war, actually.
It is.
We were entering with a jeep of my colleague, and there were military people who stopped us in the entrance with heavy guns, with lights on our eyes. And I remember negotiating with one of the representatives of the bases there for your future, let's say, trying to get you to the shelter in Nicosia. You said that when they got to know that Hope for Children is coming and lawyers for children are coming, they started
yes, they were
to
like
fix everything.
Exactly.
Let's say. Yeah.
Which we were asking for a lot of things, and I was asking at least for me being with someone who actually I will be able to be with, because they left me to be with people who I never met, and eventually it showed that most of them, they are drug dealer. They came with a lot of money or and I was just, one of the things that I actually wanted to is to get away from those people and to go away to somewhere else, and they didn't give it to me. And eventually when someone came to ask for me, they were like, "Oh, what do you need?" and this and that.
So since then, 5 years have passed.
Yeah, since that, a lot of difficulties actually. 5 years didn't pass very easy. But
what were the main difficulties that you have faced so far?
I faced a lot of things actually.
You have been working though. I mean,
I
systematically.
was working. But the thing is not about only work. It's about a lot of small issue. It costs you a lot of trouble in your life. I remember this one time I was trying to open a bank account, and they didn't open me a bank account until I came to you actually, and I asked for your help. You remember that? And I asked.
Yeah, but I remember also the incident what happened when you went there afterwards with some of your savings, if I remember well.
Yeah.
What happened there in the bank?
When I was trying to put my money in there.
Yeah.
This is not long time ago.
No.
I was trying to put my money in there, and they actually called up. They were like,
it was money that you have earned from
I
your
have
job.
earned from there, and they are like, from where you get the money? I'm like, I'm working in there. I actually went in there because someone stole some of the money. Yeah, and they didn't let me to. And they are like, you need to bring a paper from the police, you need to bring a paper from your job, from that and from that. I'm like, but I quit that job long time ago, how for me to get that paper? And they're like, okay, we cannot. I'm like, well, what I'm going to do with the money? They're like, save it well. Okay.
And what did they do afterwards?
They didn't do nothing.
They called someone, you have told me.
They called the police.
And the police came because?
Because of the money that I have.
That possibly it was something strange, or I don't know.
No, I'm not sure, but I think for someone, okay, in my age to go there as a refugee with this pink card, to go there with some money, of course, okay. They will be like, oh, you are a drug dealer, or you stole them from somewhere. I think maybe one of the reasons is.
I will make a silly question, which may appear or seem silly, but if you had the chance to speak to young Diya, who was 10 years old, what would you tell him now?
I think I would tell him to do the same.
Which is?
Which is going through this experience, perhaps, like traveling. I would do it again, yes. If it's that what you are asking.
No, I'm asking openly. Yeah, so you would do the same?
I actually would do the same, yes.
How do you imagine your life from 5 years from now?
I'm not sure how it's going to be because everything is changing right now, especially with this COVID and this and that, because I was planning to open my shop, and because of that, everything stopped actually. So 5 years from now, if everything went well...
What kind of shop do you want to open?
I'm trying to open a food truck or something to do some burger in it and pizza. So I think I will be owning a shop maybe, trying to make a family, do the impossible to bring my family here or try to get them away from Sabra Shatila, because it was always my dream to get from there. And of course, I'm not going to forget my family, who they are left there. Especially which I have a brother, which is 5 years old. He's growing in there since the day one he had born in there. So I think this is one of the goals I will be doing.
And what if you had the chance to speak to a refugee, an unaccompanied minor, let's say, or a young refugee in general who was arriving this night in Cyprus, what would you advise him or her? What would be the main advice?
I think to get away from the illegal stuff.
The illegal?
The illegal stuff.
What do you mean by that?
I mean about drug dealing. Like a lot of those kids who I actually met in Cyprus, they in the same age and they may be young, like younger than me, 17 or 18 years old. They're actually into drug dealing or into...
How do they end up in drug dealing or other illegal activities?
I'm not sure why they do that, because you will always, if you want to stay away from that places, you will actually always find a way or small hope to get away from there. Because I don't understand what is the point of someone leaving that areas and that thing in our country, which most of the people that they do this, they are the people from Sabra Shatila. I don't understand the point about leaving that area and coming into better area, but doing the same thing and making the same future for yourself. Like, why? This will make you wonder. I'm not.
But obviously they are working for other people also who are possibly pushing them.
Yeah, but the thing is, why to destroy your future? Like, a lot of these people, they get away from there. But for some reason, because they want to get extra cash or whatever, you will do the same, and you will destroy your family, you will destroy your future, you will destroy everything you actually dreamed about, actually, when you left from there.
So your advice would be to
try to do something legal. Try work hard, try give a good image about who the refugees are, actually. Because the refugees are not Arab, they are not only Arabs. I'm talking about all the refugees. I would like from them to give all the people a good image about the refugee all over the world. Because for some reason, refugee, they have a very bad image all over the world.
Now that you are in Cyprus, what do you consider as your identity? Are you mostly a Palestinian of Syria? Are you a Palestinian simply? A Palestinian who has lived in Syria and Lebanon? A refugee? An Arab? What is the identity that you would say that you keep as the strongest right now?
You keep in myself?
Yeah, for you.
For me?
Yeah. Here in Cyprus.
Since the time I'm in Cyprus?
Yeah.
You know, because we grow up on something called Palestinian, I think I would never forget where I belong to, that I belong to Palestine. But I wouldn't actually forget as well Cyprus, which I'm trying my best to get a better future, and I'm seeing the sunlight of that, actually.
So if you ever, now you have a passport, refugee passport.
A travel document from Cyprus.
Yeah, so you are a recognized refugee now, and you can travel typically around the world and around the world also. For which reason would you stay in Cyprus, and for which reason would you leave Cyprus?
I was actually talking with my girlfriend a few months ago about leaving Cyprus. Because a while ago when I was trying to open my own business, I realized in that time that getting into somewhere while you are in Cyprus and do something legal, like trying to open your business, which is very simple thing you are asking for. You're not asking for help from the government or you're just trying to open your shop.
To make the paper,
exactly.
The work, yeah.
Just trying to get the license.
The legal license.
The legal license of doing what you actually want with your own money, with your own thing. It was very difficult. And I couldn't get it. Where I had to ask for a lot of help to try to get that thing. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't.
So this would be a reason for leaving Cyprus?
Exactly, for someone who's been working since the age 11. For someone and working very hard, trying to dream about doing his own business, trying to make his family future better. I think it will be the reason.
And what do you like in Cyprus? For which reason would you stay in Cyprus? If, of course, you feel like that.
The reason is it's a much better, safer place. There is a law.
Culturally, do you feel close or very far from the Arab world?
No, actually the culture is very similar. You would feel like you are in one of the Arab country because of the culture, because of the weather, because of the nature, because of how Cyprus in general. So yeah, I think that would be a very good reason for someone to stay in here if you would have had the ability to do the thing you want without any difficulties, which is I couldn't get.
Diya, that was a very powerful discussion, despite the fact that we have done a lot of discussions like that in the past. but having you here today in my radio show, it's a new experience for me too, because I think again of things that you have been talking about all these years, and now today I get to feel that I know you better, and I'm very happy for that, and I'm very happy that your life is going on, and I have to really congratulate you for your persistence and for your courage. Keep on, man. Shukran.
I'm very happy to be in here. I'm very happy to talk about some stuff you needed to talk about it actually, which you kept it for so long with someone.
Shukran.
العفو.
Thank you, man. Κανένα άλλο σχόλιο. Ήταν μια από τις πολύ έτσι δυνατές ραδιοφωνικές εμπειρίες που έχω όλα αυτά τα χρόνια, παρά το γεγονός ότι τον γνώριζα αρκετά καλά, τον Diya Arishe, τον Παλαιστίνιο από τη Συρία, που είχα τη χαρά να έχω εδώ μαζί μου σήμερα, πρώην ασυνόδευτος ανήλικος, ενήλικας πια εδώ στην Κύπρο, εργάζεται και συνεχίζει τη ζωή του. Θα τη συνεχίσουμε κι εμείς με τον ένα ή άλλο τρόπο μέχρι την επόμενη Δευτέρα, θα τα πούμε ξανά στις 8. Μέχρι τότε, ψυχή βαθιά.
Ήταν το Manifesto με το Βαγγέλη Γέττο. Επόμενη μουσική και λογοτεχνική επιδρομή την επόμενη Δευτέρα, 8 με 9.